Hey, what's up, nerds? We're back again. Hunter, Shane, guys at Magic. We're doing the upgraded deck list for what's this one called? Unleashed. Upgrades Unleashed. We did the $100 upgrade. Now we're doing the $300 upgrade. And so with that, I'm gonna kick it over to Hunter. Talk about the commander of this deck.
Yeah, man. Finally. Sorry it took so long for us to do this upgrade videos. With New Capenna right around the corner, I have really been grinding to get these out as fast as possible. So without further ado, let me just jump in. Our commander we are going with, once again, is Shishiro the Shattered Blade. As a reminder, Shishiro the Shattered Blade is 2, a red and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Snake Samurai. It states whenever an aura or equipment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 red spirit creature token with Menace. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each modified creature you control. Modified creatures, again, is stuff that has equipment or auras attached to them, and they have counters on them. Or they have counters.
Or, right? Or all the above. Yeah, got it.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So we're gonna
So
jump right into the additions, yeah?
Yeah, we're gonna jump straight into the additions. So for the
Hit me.
$300 upgrade, it's kind of similar to the Buckle Up one, where I really, really liked the deck that I had with the $100 upgrade. So I kind of just fine-tuned it just a little more with $200, and you'll see the big boy upgrades. But as a reminder, let's jump back into the upgrades or the additions that I gave from the $100 upgrade and talk about what I did with those.
Okay.
So the first part is the new cards that I really wanted to put in this deck, which is Lizard Blades, Rabbit Battery, Thundering Raiju, and Kodama of the West Tree. Those first two are artifact creatures, so you can equip them, make stuff modified. Thundering Raiju gives stuff a +1/+1 counter, which is also modified. And Kodama gives you essentially ramp with modified creatures.
Right. And Thundering Raiju is nuts.
It's a very good card.
All right, cool.
So yeah, all four of those cards, I think they're super important to put in this deck. It's really a bummer that they're not already included.
Well, that's why we're here to upgrade it, dude.
Exactly. And of course, I added the living weapons to this deck as well. So that's Needle Cyst, Batter Skull, and Scythe Claw. What living weapons do, in case you aren't aware, is that they come in as equipment and they just attach themselves to a 0/0 creature immediately. So those 0/0 creatures are modified when they come in, and it triggers our commander twice because when an equipment enters the battlefield, you create a spirit, and those 0/0s are modified as well because they are equipped, which means at the end step, you get a +1/+1 on those 0/0s. So you can technically take these equipment off of the germs.
And the germs don't die?
Germs don't die. They have a counter on it now.
Wow, that's fantastic. What synergy, dude?
Crazy synergy, right?
Yeah. All right, what else?
Yeah.
What other crazy synergy you got going on?
The other crazy synergy part was because this is a counters matter deck, I had to get stuff that dealt with counters.
Makes sense.
So that was Incubation Druid, Renata Called to the Hunt, Hardened Scales, and the Ozolith. Just a quick reminder, Incubation Druid is basically a little mana dork, but if it has a 1/1 counter on it, you can add 3 mana. Renata is a legendary enchantment creature. It's a demigod. Its power is equal to Devotion to Green, but each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it, so they just enter modified. Hardened Scales, one of the best counters matter cards ever.
Yep.
It's an enchantment for 1 green mana. It says if 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many plus 1 other one is put on instead. They just add another one. And the Ozolith, also very important. It's a newer artifact from Ikoria. It's whenever a creature leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith, and in the beginning of your combat, you can move the counters from the Ozolith to a creature.
Making things modified. Love it.
Making things modified.
All right, well, what else we got? A few extras?
A few extras here. This was, if you remember, we had Crown of Flames and Whip Silk. Crown of Flames and Whip Silk are both very old cards. They are auras, even though it doesn't say it on the card. They are classified as auras. They come in attached to a creature, and then you can pay either the red for Crown of Flames or a green for Whip Silk to put it back in your hand. Basically, you're just throwing the aura in, taking it back, throwing it in, taking it back, which makes our commander pop off, essentially.
Yeah, you're
Make
just
a bunch of
cycling for your commander,
2/2s.
dude.
Yeah.
Seems pretty legit. What about
Yeah. And then
crazy equipment, dude?
another equipment that I threw in there, if you remember, was Amber Cleave. Amber Cleave was one of the better equipments. 4 and 2 red. It's got flash. It costs 1 less for each attacking creature you control. Then when it enters the battlefield, you just attach it to a creature, and the equipped creature gets +1/+1. It has double strike and trample.
Yep, we
So
all know it. We all hate it. We all love it.
yeah, back in standard days,
Yeah,
it was a menace in mono red.
agreed. And then, of course, just like the last one, you gotta have your damn combo in it. What's this combo you're doing now?
Yeah, and if you remember the combo, it was Godo, Bandit, Warlord with Helm of the Host. Just a little refresher if you don't remember. Godo, when it enters the battlefield, you can go search your library for an equipment and put it onto the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your library. The equipment you're most likely looking for is Helm of the Host. So at the beginning of combat, on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipment creature. So you're going to be copying Godo, and then that Godo is going to attack because it gets haste, and then
Yeah.
it untaps, and then every combat you're making a new Godo.
A new Godo. Yeah. I remember this one. We had a whole talk because we're like, "Are we understanding this card?" 'Cause we thought it was only like you had to pay a bunch of mana for this, right? And we're like, "Oh wait, no, it's just like the one time and you're good."
Yep, you just attach it one time, and then you have unlimited Godo combats.
Nuts. Just yeah. You can't let that happen. If you see that happening, you got to kill spell now.
Absolutely insane.
Well, cool. So that was your additions, right? I'm guessing from the 100. So do we have some new cool toys you want to add for the 300 in particular?
I do.
Hit me.
These are the big boy cards. First, we have the Great Henge, Goldspan Dragon, Sword of Truth and Justice.
Okay.
Starting with the Great Henge, that is 7 and 2 green for a legendary artifact, except cost X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So that could be very cheap based on the amount of counters you have on our creature.
True.
Could just be essentially 2 mana.
Hopefully.
It is a mana rock, so you can tap it to add 2 green, and you gain 2 life when you do. And it also has a static ability that says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card.
Yeah, I feel like that does a lot of stuff your deck wants to do.
Exactly. Comes in, makes a creature modified instantly, and gives you card draw.
Yeah.
Seems pretty busted. And it gives you mana to play creatures. And gains you life. It's a very good card.
Yeah. It's a very good card.
I'm also throwing in Goldspan Dragon. I feel like since Goldspan Dragon's been printed, it is almost a staple in most red decks now.
Yeah, I would say.
Which, fun fact, I didn't realize until I made this upgrade. Goldspan Dragon has dropped significantly in price. I'm not sure why, because it's still in standard. Because usually when things are still in standard, it stays pretty high, but it's only $20 now. Some as low as 16.
As opposed to what? What was it before?
I believe I paid $40 for my copy.
Well, there's been a lot of new cards printed in that 5 slot, right? Or 4 slot for red. So maybe that area is just more contested. So maybe just players are kind of changing their ways in standard. I don't know.
That's a possibility, but I still think it's stupidly powerful.
It is.
And here's why I'm throwing it specifically in this deck. No, it doesn't come in modified. No, it doesn't give modification to anything. However, let's go over what Goldspan Dragon does. It is 3 and 2 red for a 4/4 creature dragon. It's got flying. It's got haste. It says whenever it attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. And the treasures you control have break the treasures, add 2 mana instead of just 1.
Yeah.
So, here's something you can do. Using Crown of Flames or Whip Silk, you can target Goldspan with this aura, create a treasure because it's targeting it, and then you have unlimited mana because you're throwing it back in your hand, putting it back on, throwing it back in your hand, putting it back on.
Oh, so you're always gonna like net one.
Yep.
It's true. It's true.
So it's pretty powerful. You're gonna have unlimited treasure essentially, and you can do whatever you want with that treasure. So, like, makes it because of that reason, you're also triggering your commander unlimited times. You're making unlimited tutus.
That's that. Yeah, that's kind of
So,
dumb.
so
Well, not
another.
unlimited. You got to give us a number. Or we're not gonna let you do it.
I'm gonna
You
do
just say
this
like
9
5
million
billion.
times.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, very very cool little combo, I guess if you want to say that.
2 combos in this deck. God damn, dude.
2 combos, man. It's pretty good. And the other card, Sword of Truth and Justice. Sword of Truth and Justice is 3 generic mana for an artifact equipment. It says equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and from blue. It's got an equip cost of 2, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, then proliferate.
So it's got protection from white, which is really good. Exile removal.
Exactly.
And from blue, dude. Okay, well that's pretty good.
Yeah, it'll protect the single cyclonic, not an
Yeah.
overload, but a single.
That's true. Which is
But
not very
yeah,
often, but yeah.
putting a counter on something makes it modified, and then proliferating all your countered stuff.
Seems like a good card.
Seems like it fits the deck nicely.
It does. Cool. So what else do you want to show me?
Okay, so this is a very expensive card, but
Whoa.
so we're gonna be talking about it on its own because it's so
Okay.
expensive.
Okay.
I'm throwing in Doubling Season.
Yikes.
Doubling Season is currently over $75, so it is going to take up most of your $300 budget if you're sticking to what I'm talking about. Doubling Season is 4 and a green for an enchantment. It says if an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. And if an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many counters on that permanent instead. So it doubles our commander both modes.
Yeah. I think it definitely fits in this deck. It sucks that it's so
Yeah,
expensive, but you gotta.
it has to. It's. I
The
know
value is real.
value is real here. It makes twice that many 2/2 spirit tokens, and it puts twice as many counters whenever you're putting counters on it. And if you're looking at Goldspan Dragon, you're making twice as many
Jeez.
treasures.
Yeah, that's actually nuts.
So doubling
Huh.
season is too good not to put in this deck.
Well, they might fight you for it, but I like it.
Yeah.
What else?
And then just a couple little other things. Well, upgrading this deck, I realized why didn't I put Inspiring Call in the $100 deck because it's only like 20 cents. But it is a 2 and a green for an instant. It says draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible end of turn.
Oh shit.
It's card
So it's
draw,
like
and it just
and
gives your
protection.
stuff. Yeah.
That's
I was
actually
like,
really good.
I should have put that in the 100. So I'm just throwing this in here as a little thing. This is kind of the yin and the yang. So doubling season, super expensive. This card, not at all.
It's a freebie.
It's a freebie. And then the final little legendary artifact equipment I'm throwing in here is the Hammer of Nazan. The Hammer of Nazan is 4 generic mana for an equipment. It says when it or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach that equipment to a target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible. It's got an equip cost of 4. So
Wait a minute.
all of your equipments are coming in and just attaching themselves immediately.
So, but it says even this one too. Then yeah. So the
Uh-huh.
the equip cost of 4, it's free, right?
It's free for the first time, yeah.
Got it. When they enter the battlefield, got it.
Mm-hmm. So you're just making stuff modified immediately.
Yeah, it seems really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And this one gets indestructible. Yeah, it seems good.
Yeah, and then finally the lands from last time that I threw in here.
Yep.
I threw in Stomping Ground, Rootbound Crag, Crag Crown Pathway. Those are just a couple of dual lands. Either tap for a red or a green. As well as Karn's Bastion, taps for colorless, but you can pay 4, tap it to proliferate. Very important.
Okay. What are some new ones?
The big boy upgrade, I threw in Spire Garden. Spire Garden is, of course, the one that comes in tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. So it's very easy. Believe it or not, Spire Garden, only $10. This might be the cheapest one out there.
No one plays Gruul, dude.
I play Gruul, man. And of course, a Fabled Passage. We're just throwing that in just to fix our mana base.
Okay. So now we have to talk about the dreaded removals, yeah?
The dreaded removals. So, like the other previous videos, we are not going to go over every single thing I removed in the $100 upgrade video. So you will see those on the screen right now. If you guys want to hear me talk about why I removed them, go down in the description down below and click on the $100 upgrade video, and you'll hear me talk about all of them.
Yeah, because this video would be an hour and a half long if not.
Exactly. So, but I did add some other stuff to the $300 upgrade, so we did need to remove a couple more things.
All right, well, on top of that, what are you getting rid of?
So what am I getting rid of? Well, we made room for new equipment, like the hammer and the sword. So we got to take some bad equipment out, I would say. So I'm getting rid of Mage Slayer and Fire Shrieker. Mage Slayer is a red and a green for an artifact equipment. It says, whenever equipped creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. It's got an equip cost of 3. So not as good as the hammer or the other sword. So easy to swap out. Okay. And Fire Shrieker is 3 generic mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has double strike, equip cost of 2. That's all it does. So
yeah,
getting rid of that.
It's like good, but it's just not as good as the others.
Not as good as the others at all. And then I'm just trimming some fat just to make room for the other cool stuff I threw in here. I'm getting rid of Loyal Guardian, Riskar's Expertise, and Ox of Agonas. If you didn't know, Loyal Guardian is 4 and a green for a 4/4 creature, Rhino. It's got Trample. It also says at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But if I don't have my commander, it's 5 mana for a 4/4 with Trample.
Which just isn't cutting it in a $300 list.
Right, so that is being cut. Rishkar's Expertise is 4 and 2 green for a sorcery. You draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. And you may cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. While that's good, 6 mana to draw cards equal to the greatest power. What if you didn't have a great power at the time?
I would hope you do, because it's if you're going to cast this card, it's late in the game, but yeah, we got better things to do in this deck right now.
6 mana for a sorcery. Is that better than the Great Henge? I think the Great Henge is drawing you way more cards.
At least for your synergy, I would say no, not at the moment.
Exactly. And then the final one I'm getting rid of is Ox of Agonas. Ox of Agonas is 3 and 2 red for a creature Ox. It's a 4/2. It says when it enters the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. It's also got an escape cost of 2 red that says exile 8 other cards from your graveyard, and it escapes with a 1/1 counter on it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I feel like this card could be great again, but not with what you're trying to do. Like this card has done great things in other decks, let me tell you right now.
Yeah, just this one is just not as strong, because I don't want to really get rid of, especially if I'm trying to bring stuff back from my graveyard. There is a couple things that I can bounce back, but I don't want to get rid of stuff.
I don't think
Plus, I would be afraid to play this if I had a hand that I liked.
Right. Yeah. The downside is big.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the lands that I'm getting rid of to make room for the other lands I added. We are still getting rid of that Mossfire Valley because they printed 2 in the deck.
Because they messed up, because they're dumb.
Yeah, good job, Wizards. Thank you so much.
We love you, just kidding.
We love you, just kidding. And we are trimming 2 mountains and 4 forests.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're getting better duels, right? Come on.
We are getting better duels, and I'm just trimming one singular extra land out because we have the Great Henge and all that stuff. So our land count is now at 36.
Which is respectable. I'd say
Yeah.
36, 37 is about average. So yeah, sounds good.
Exactly. So that's my upgrade.
That's it, dude. Sheesh. All right.
Sheesh, indeed, man.
Well, do you have any final thoughts about this deck? Like, you gonna leave it
I
up?
think
You
this
gonna
deck.
play it?
You know what? Adding all these cards to this deck and seeing the synergies and everything, it makes me super excited to play this deck, especially
Yeah.
with all these combos that I threw in here.
Yeah, you love combos now, apparently.
I'm not a combo player. I've said that even though I've been adding combos in these last couple upgrade videos. It's kind of like a alternate win con at this point because I'm always kind of the damage guy.
Yeah.
But with this deck, damage is still number one. You are still making a ton of creatures. You are still putting counters on things to make stuff huge. Damage is still king.
I can get behind that.
So, if you wanted to see this deck in all its glory, look in our description down below. You will find the deck list that is connected to our Moxfield account. And maybe you can go and pick up this deck. Give it a try.
Hey, man, leave a comment. Let us know if you're gonna make this deck. Maybe you have different adds and removals, and that's the beauty of this. Everyone does that a little different, So give your
Exactly. Did I
feedback.
miss something? Let me know.
Maybe you did. Maybe you got rid of a bonkers card. People are gonna call you an idiot. Who knows?
That's a possibility too.
All right,
But
man.
if you haven't subscribed to the channel, don't forget we are now at 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much again. We are doing a giveaway very soon.
What giveaway? What was that again? I forgot what we talked about.
We are gonna give a box away.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for subscribing. You have to subscribe to the channel to enter the giveaway. More details will be in a later video.
Yeah. 1,000's no small feat, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Also, what's the thing we always forget to say? Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Is that all we got?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's at guys
It's,
at
ju- it's
Magic.
just I at guys at magic. Pretty straightforward.
Easy.
Pretty soon we got spoilers coming around the corner, dude. So that'll be great. I know Hunter works really hard on showing every single freaking spoiler on our Instagram. So go follow us there.
Yeah, we're gonna be coming out with videos every day for the spoiler season, like always.
Yeah.
So be sure to follow us
Right
along.
on. Well, thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Peace.